Welcome to the Fractured Families podcast. I'm Charity, your dedicated parental alienation coach, here to guide and support families as they navigate the challenges of high conflict divorces and custody battles. On this podcast, we'll share insights, practical strategies, and hope for those on the journey toward healing and justice. Whether you're personally experiencing these challenges or just want to learn more about the complexities of parental alienation and custody disputes, you're in the right place. You are not alone. This is the Fractured Families podcast, where every voice matters and every story is heard. And if you find my conversation helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us reach more families who need it. My name is Charity. Thanks for joining the Fractured Families podcast. I have with me today Jay, who is a father of 3 alienated children, actually abducted. 3 abducted children, and he has had an international custody arrangement and battle with his ex-wife. So Jay, thank you for joining. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
So it started with just the basic divorce process. March of 2023 was when the petition was filed. From there, on July 4th, she actually packed up her children and took them to Ireland. And then from that point, we've been through Hague Convention, where she even said, well, if the kids are granted to him, I'm going to walk away and I'll never see him again. And she's told our children this as well. I've gotten court orders where I'm allowed to talk to him on the phone daily. But even there, my communication is whether it's cut or it's tampered with. We have recordings even of my calls where she's literally chased the children, saying, don't you remember when your father hit you? And they're like, no, that's never happened. But trying to get them to believe that there's some side of violence or some sort of pretty much something that occurred that never did. And one of our children is 16, so she's well capable of even speaking for herself now. But when they were abducted, she was only 14. So there's a lot of that that's going on. And I mean, it's continued. So even things of, there's a court order now in place. Within 2 weeks, I'm supposed to go pick them up and actually be able to bring them home. She's told my attorney to go F himself. Even just asking for basic passport information. We're required to communicate through our family wizarding app. The last communication I've received from her is October 2022. The last time she's even viewed any communication was December of last year, and it was truly just her clicking through it, but not responding to anything. And this was including things of, do you mind feeding the kids breakfast before you drop them off? Things of that nature. The last time I got to see the kids, again, I have to go through 2 court systems to even see them. And before anything was even decided, so I requested to see them for Christmas. The last time she put in a motion saying the kids are in grave risk day before we were supposed to go. And the judge is like, I don't have time to hear anything. But she requested I'm only able to see them for 3 to 6 hours a day for each day I was there, which only equaled out to not even 40 hours over that whole week that I was in Ireland. So it's $6,000 I had to pay to see my children. And I was only able to see them 6 hours this day, 6 hours this day. And even the kids, they have their own attorney. It's like, he's never been harmful. He's not dangerous. There's nothing wrong here. But yet the mother's allowed to make these allegations, and there's nothing you can do because, again, when they put that in right before the judge is supposed to make a determination, the judge is just going to be like, okay, granted. But now, yes, they granted that I get the full summer with the kids. But now, even like literally 2 weeks' time, I have no passport information for them. I paid $8,000. I'm about to fly over there to see them. I'm supposed to be able to bring them home, but we don't even know if she's even going to bring them to the airport. And if I show up at her house, it'll automatically be she'll try to get me arrested. So at that point, I might have spent $8,000 for a very quick 1-day turnaround to Northern Ireland and then back to the U.S. to then turn around and have to just file another motion at Wright County saying, nope, she didn't abide by the court order. And then for them to say, okay, well, you can file back to the Hague again. And this has been ongoing for 2 years, probably out $106,000 so far just in lawyer fees, court fees. begging to see my children again. And prior to their abduction, I did have 50-50 custody. We had a week on, week off agreement. So again, I had the children every other week and they enjoyed that. I worked from home. I only go to clients when I didn't have the kids. So it was something I was well capable and easy to do. Had them during the school year, worked with them on schoolwork, just everything a parent would do, whether it was take them to a park, anything of that nature. But now that they've been with the mother for 2 years, even the court's like, "Oh, well, they've been with the mother 2 years. She's a deem a fit mother." Even when
Mm-hmm.
my kids will say, well, no, she said this to us, but I guess it's not really alienation, or that negativity is acceptable in court size. And it's baffling to see, just as a father. It's, well, what can we do to even protect the kids? Like, it's truly, I can't tell my kids something anymore, even if she's outright lying to them. Like, she's told my eldest daughter she can't come home because they have their GCSEs. That's the same as in America are ACTs and SATs. You can do them online even. And she said, no, you have to do them here. And she booked it right over the summer where she was supposed to come home. So now my daughter believes if she comes home, she won't be able to get into college. And I'm trying to explain it, but at the same time, I can't say your mother's lying,
Mm-hmm.
because then now it's just me alienating the mother. So I'm just like, okay, well, we'll figure that out. It'll be okay. So, I mean, there's just so much constant movement, but so many false allegations just constantly come in court, and there's nothing you can do. And then, even with the motion where the judge was like, yep, you can see him for this month and a half in the summer. And I mean, that's not even the legal state minimum. So that was another reason for our appeal. But at the same time, what do you do? What can you do as a parent other than say, I'll take what I can get?
So, when did the divorce start?
That was March 2023.
March of 2023. And so, when the divorce first started, you did have them 50-50, and the relationship with the
Correct.
children was healthy. She obviously at that time felt comfortable leaving them with you.
There was never any issues whatsoever. Like, through that process, there was nothing. And then after she started making falsified CPS reports, I had CPS come out multiple times. They talked to the kids, they interviewed the school, they interviewed me, having no findings and closing it again. One, she claimed I was emotionally abusing them. And then they closed it after interviewing the kids. Even the question of kids, why would somebody make up these accusations? And my eldest daughter's like, I don't know why somebody would claim that. So it's truly, again, it's one of those where it's you're at the mercy of somebody making all these horrible accusations about you, whether they're claiming domestic violence based on fear. And in the state of Minnesota, fear is a law. Like, so our OFPs and everything, if you go into court and say, I'm scared of you, that's grounds for an OFP. There's no way. You can't turn around and say, well, they're not scared of me. You can, but it doesn't go well. Let me put it that way.
Mhm.
So again, and then they just say, well, you're denying any accusations. But then you ask, can you show evidence of anything? No. And that's been through the whole court process, even. There's been no evidence of anything other than she had an order for protection. It said he yelled and screamed and she was scared for her life.
And this was after the divorce started. Okay, so after the divorce started, you had the children, she files, and then your relationship or your visitation and parenting time completely stops because of the protection order.
No, even there, the protection order still allowed me 50-50 custody.
Okay.
That was one of the main things. I hired an attorney. Again, I
Yeah.
think it was $15,000 to fight it. And we had police reports. Police reports are not represented in court. If you don't show up with the cop, that police report doesn't matter. It's
Unbelievable.
hearsay. So it's thrown out. I found this out the hard way.
Wow.
So even in the OFP trial, we came with police report. Yep, here's a report where she hit him with a car. Here's one where she actually broke his ribs. Here's one where she smacked him in the face. Are the cops present? Nope, this is hearsay. It's thrown out.
Wow. That is
So
horrific.
yeah, police reports are not in court. You're required to subpoena the police officer.
Okay, so you still have your children,
Mhm.
you're fighting the OFP, and then at what point did she abandon them, and how did you find out? Like, what
She
happened?
didn't abandon them.
I mean
Again, we have in court orders, we get a daily phone call with the children, either side. Because even before the separation, and this was the justification for it, every night we would tuck them in and say goodnight. So the court order is like, well, if you guys do that on a regular, we're not going to change that. So we had that every night phone call. On the 4th, I tried to call and I couldn't get through to him. I called in a safety check. Again, I'm not able to get through to my kids. I called 4 times. It's right before their bedtime. What is going on?
Right.
They call me back. There's nothing wrong. They're just probably out watching the fireworks. Okay, no thought of it. Maybe that's what it was. I'll call you guys in the morning. I try to call again in the morning. No answer. My gut said something was wrong. About, I want to say it was like 12-ish, sometime right there at lunch. I was out with some friends and I got a text. And it was from her and it said, "Me and the kids are in Ireland. F you. You'll never talk or see him again." What do you do? Sheer panic. My stomach drops. I'm flabbergasted. I come home. I call my local police department. It's a mother taking her kids on vacation. That's not kidnapping. I call the FBI. They're like, "Nope, you should need to call the Secretary of State Children's Division." So I call the Secretary of State Children's Division. They open up a case. They say call the missing children's organization, and I can't recite it off the top of my head. So they're in that database, but they're not in the database because the local police, even to this day, 2 years later, refuse to put them in because they're with their mother. And that's a civil matter now. So as a father, even in that system, where if I did the exact same thing, there would have been an Amber Alert, federal warrant,
Oh, yeah.
everything else. But as a mother does it, that's acceptable. And again, the majority of this you'll be able to find on Google here in less than a few months because it's at the state appeals level right now. But it's truly one of those. As a father, I found out even married getting divorced, and I follow the single fathers groups and the pro C groups, and I found that even as a married father, you still have no rights to your
Mhm.
children until court order. And again, when it comes to parent alienation, the judges just don't know what to do about it. So it's
Right.
just acceptable.
Yeah.
So even where we have, here's video evidence of her making falsified claims, telling the kids this, and truly telling them, well, if you go to your father, this is again a statement they've heard over and over again. If you go home to your father, you're never going to see me again. And it's weaponized that they shouldn't even come home. And if they do, well, they won't see their mom. And then even when we did the Hag, all I begged for was for the 50-50 I had. I went from having my children every other week to I've seen them less than 2 weeks in 2 years. And again, I know where they're at, but it's not like I can jump on a flight, fly over, pick them up, and bring them home. Like I need multiple court orders to even do that now. And it's almost as if everybody's like, well, let's make sure that you can't get them or take them or abduct them. And that's been the statement she's been making is he's going to abduct them. They've already been abducted. Like,
Yeah.
how can you abduct the children that's already been
Yeah.
abducted from their resident, from their home, from their family here, but now they're not allowed to come home, even though this is even their jurisdiction and where the court said this is their jurisdiction. So it's really baffling on how it all ties together. And then even in the end, even if the courts now say, yep, she didn't follow the court order, you can go get your kids. I still legally can't. I have to then turn around and file it back again in Northern Ireland and then go through another court battle.
So she leaves. She tells you basically F off. You can't have the kids. Do you still speak with them on the phones? Do you have video calls?
I have a daily video call, so I'm able to FaceTime them. But as I was saying, even there, the mother will interject in the middle of the call. She's told them multiple times to hang up on the calls, or she will make sure, like on my son's birthday. My son just turned 8. Again, this is 2 years rolling. I've
Mhm.
missed multiple birthdays now, not because I don't want to be there, not
Right.
because I haven't begged to be there, but even there, it's been like that call there. My son, I tried to call on his birthday. I was able to talk to my eldest daughter because she's the one that owns the cell phone. But he wasn't there. And then when he was there, mommy said he can't talk. And then my kids are at that point of even afraid to make their mother upset.
Of course.
My guess, my 16-year-old and their mother get in full on screaming matches, but my daughter won't tell me anything about it. And again, there's some level of fear there, but I don't know what it is. We have our 14th Amendment, which allows me to school records and medical records. But because she's in Ireland, she's refused to even give me any school records or medical records. So I've not received school records or medical records in the last 2 years either. The courts have demanded they're in therapy, but she's weaponized the therapy to, well, he was supposed to see him. Yep, I did abduct him, but it's because he's a bad man and I need to protect the kids from him. And then even there, like I said, I have all their own reports from their own attorney that did their own investigation, contradicting everything she's stating. Like, no, he was never abusive. No, he never hurt our mother. She actually hit him. No, and this is all in their reports. And yet it's, well, the mother said this. But we have
So,
a 16-year-old daughter.
so for their minors counsel, is that appointed here in the U.S. or is it appointed in Ireland because that's where they're residing?
It was appointed in Ireland, actually. So it was the Hague Convention courts that had appointed them their own attorneys
Okay.
because they needed the children's feedback. And at the time,
Yeah. Yep.
they all begged to come home.
Oh.
And then even there, that trial ran on for over a year before they just handed it back to Wright County saying, well, it's your jurisdiction. You figure out what's the best interest of the kids. And it was always just another way to try to push it further out. So there was always an excuse. So the first time she was subpoenaed to court, she didn't show up. And then the second time she finally got an attorney, and then they requested a 3-month extension.
Of course.
Then when we won, it was like, wait, we want to appeal this. We need another 6-month extension. And they were granted a 6-month extension prior to. So it was me begging to come and see the kids for that Christmas time, begging to come and see the kids again. And even there was like, he seen the kids, he had the kids, they stayed with him, there was no danger. And then the very next year, while we're now back here in the US courts, the mother comes back to claim again, the kids are in grave risk in his care, they'll be in danger. He should only be allotted 6 hours a time, where she's claiming the kids are in danger and she's in danger, but she was willing to see me twice a day for pickup and drop off by herself.
So what are you allowed to present at the hearing? Because I know obviously you can't present the police reports, but from that experience, like just say, obviously, because that's a very common tactic is I would meet for the pickups, but I'm afraid of him or her, right? In your case, I'm afraid of him, but here you go. She was there. There was no fear. How do you present that, or do you present that in court?
I had to videotape for my own protection.
Yep.
Because again, there's been a lot of false allegations,
Mhm.
and with OFP orders, if she even says I spoke to her,
Yeah.
that gets me put in cuffs.
Yeah.
I know I've had to fight that too. But even with that, I had to record every drop off and pick up, that I didn't get out of the car, that she showed up late almost every day, whether it was 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And I'd had like, even there, she would send them still hungry. So, like, no food. One day it was like 40 degrees outside. She sent my child in shorts and a t shirt. I just flew over from America. I don't have clothes for him sitting there. So it's like, okay, well, we got to go to the store. And now I'm spending not just US dollars, but I'm spending
Yeah.
pounds to get my kids clothes, to get them food, to still do activities, because I'm there to just spend time with my kids. I'm not going to drag them in through, well, your mother did this and your mother, my kids don't need to be involved in that. This is the little bit of time I get with them. I'm just trying to be happy in that time.
Yeah.
The worst part is when you have to give them back and you know you're not going to see them for another year. And I was a Marine. I am a Marine. I've done my 2 tours to Iraq, and even that was used against me of how I could potentially be violent. And I've never cried until the day I had to give them back, knowing there's a chance I won't see my kids again. And it literally sits at a judge's feet and me begging, can I just see my children? And then even now, yep, there's a court order. Am I going to be able to see them? I can't go pick them up. I mean, I'm supposed to. And the court order says we're supposed to work together for it. I can show you literally since December, multiple messages, whether it was communication issues or me begging for just school records and medical records. No response, never viewed, all the way out to 2 weeks ago, where I'm still saying, still need passport information just to get the kids home. And then she's telling the kids, even though they just went to Turkey, she's telling them, well, we don't have the proper documents for you to go home. Z, you have passports. You can get on a flight and come home. I'm going to be at the airport. And my daughter's like, well, mommy said we don't have our American passports. But she just renewed their American passports right before they left. They've only been gone 2 years. A child's passport's good for 5. So again, it's a lie, but I can't tell her it's a lie. So
Right.
instead, I'm like, well, you can still fly on your Irish passports. I'll make sure to bring your birth certificate. So when we
Yeah.
come back through entry, I'm like, they're my children. Here's the court orders. Here's everything else because I'll need all that anyways coming back into the US. And even there, she's like, but mommy said that's not true. And we're not going to be able to fly because we don't have the passports. And again, have all this documented in text between my daughter and myself. When my daughter was supposed to show up in trial because they were subpoenaed, even there, the mother's like, you can't take a phone call from the judge. They were supposed to be in person, and the trial went on, even though the children and the mother didn't show up. And they still granted the mother full custody, even with a contempt of court.
Gosh.
So, I mean, it's truly one of those is just the court's just giving her one more chance. Like, maybe they're just trying to give her a chance to, hey, give them back the kids before we grant them full custody. I don't know. I hope that's the case. Not that I ever wanted full custody. And because a lot of people say, how do you not do something? And I always have to look them in the eye and tell them, my kids need a mother just as well as they need a father. I know how it
Mhm.
is to lose my kids, to know nothing of my own. Like I've literally done nothing to provoke her to take them. I've done everything any parent would do to try to get them back. And even there, I would still stand on the ground saying, my kids still need that mother in their life. Now, would I want protections in place? Like, no, she has no way to get their passports, period. No way to take them out of the country. No. Yes,
Mhm.
they need their phone on them and it needs to be tracked. So she can't just take them and go. But would I stop them from seeing their mother? No.
So when you take the kids or after the visit you had and you have to separate from them knowing that it could be a year before you see them again, how are they during that separation?
They're to them again, they're just going home to the other parent.
Okay.
So they don't really understand that they might not see me again, or they
Yeah.
might not be able to see their father again, whether it's another year or
Mhm.
5 years. They don't understand that. It's just I'm going from this parent home to the other parent.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when I'm on the phone calls with him, my son's like, you said you're not going to stop fighting until I'm 18, right? You know what, buddy?
Aw.
I'm going to keep going. I'll never stop. And my daughter's like, I want to come home. Like they want to actually come home. And then we joke about how we go fishing and how we go camping and all the things we do during the summer. They're now already planning of these are things we're going to do this year. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make sure it happens. Even with all the lawyer fees, I'm like literally just throwing money
Yeah.
out the window as we go. Like I get a paycheck and but I don't even get a paycheck. My lawyer got a
Yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah.
So it's one of the, but I'm still like, I will make sure that we have a way to do everything and anything they want to do while I have them.
So that's really amazing though, Jay, that with everything that they're endured so far, that they still have that bond with you. It's really not common in severe cases of parental alienation. And I'm sure you've seen from social media how parents who are going through this, when the child is under the manipulation of that alienating parent, they align with that parent. So it's just incredible that your children still have that relationship with you.
They have that relationship, but the problem is that as you point out, that bond isn't as much there as I would even like to believe.
Of course.
Like once
Yeah.
upon a time, my kids didn't want to get off the phone.
Yeah.
Now my phone calls only last maybe 30 minutes to an hour if I'm
Yeah.
lucky. And there's days it's like, how'd your day go? It went good. School was good. I'm out of here. All right. Have a good day. I love you. Have a
Yeah.
good night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. So there are still some days like that. There's other
Yeah.
days, again, I've jumped through every hoop to try to still have all interaction I possibly can with my kids. So I've sent home the last Christmas switches and phones, and my daughter's phone was taken the very next day. Because how dare my 10-year-old have a cell phone again, even though she had one here when she was 8? Because again, I wanted to make sure we had a way to contact him when my eldest daughter is not there.
Yeah.
Which happens. Like she's 14, she goes out with her friends.
Of course.
She's 16 now. She does the same. When she's out with her friends, that's guaranteed I will not talk to
Yeah.
my younger 2 children at all. I know that. So I sent her home with a cell phone. Her mother took it literally the next day and she told me about it. She's like, I came home, I put it on the charger. The next morning it was gone, completely turned off. nothing I can do about it, nothing legally I can do about it. So pretty much after about, I think, 3 months, I just turned the phone off altogether from T-Mobile. It's just like, all right, just cancel the line. Because again, with T-Mobile, even internationally, she still had Wi-Fi, so I could still FaceTime.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's all she needed to do. I wasn't too
Right.
concerned about anything else. But like my son's birthday, we sent him an Xbox. So I still jump on the they're like, hey, you want to play this video? Yeah, I'm on it. I don't care if
Yeah.
it's in the middle of my work day. I will stop and play Fortnite, or he liked another video and I will get on. I put my mic on. I bought him a new mic. It didn't hook up, so I bought him a new mic. And like my daughter, same with the Switch. And I will send her whatever she needs. And can you get me this? And yep, I'm on it, and send it over.
Yeah.
So I try to go through anything I possibly can to just keep that little bit of time and that little bit of hope that I don't want to break that bond I do have with my three kids. Like, and I mean, again, I wasn't that father that worked 24 hours a day or
Yes.
so
Yeah.
many. I actually had a very comfortable job where I was home with my kids too, but I
Yep.
make a decent amount of money as well. So it was one of those give and takes where I did get that opportune time to watch my kids grow up. I've taught all of them to ride a bike, but my son, who's my youngest. And that's one of the things we were even talking about now. It's like, and he refuses to even try to learn to ride from his mother. My 16-year-old's like, I want a tattoo, but I'm only going to do it with you because you promised that we're going to get a tattoo together. Okay, that's fine. So again, they've all leaned that way where we've created this bond, and I'm glad that that bond didn't get destroyed or taken away.
Well, certainly not for lack of her trying to make that happen.
No. And she has definitely done that. And even now, my kids will joke about it of where it's like, well, anything negative, it's like, well, that came from your father. And their joke about it was we're just like our daddy then. And she hates it. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the relationship. And you mentioned the abuse. What was that relationship like during the marriage?
So I never really, I'm ADHD. So I always viewed myself in a Marine. So I always viewed myself as not that intelligent. I finished the Marine Corps. I got blown up and got out in Iraq. Met my now ex-wife at a pub, Irish and a Marine. Of course, that's where you're going to meet. We had what I would have called a fairy tale marriage. Like it was, you would have seen him from the outside perspective looking in. He had a really good career. I finished college. She was there through all of that. I didn't think nothing of it. It was just I wasn't that intelligent. I wasn't that smart. I was ADHD. I was a Marine. He's just, stupid. Now, would there be the outburst here or there where she would have smacked me across the face? Yeah, but it's a 5 foot nothing woman. Somebody 5'10" can bench press 300 pounds. You're not gonna hurt me. No, I'm never going to be scared of you. There's nothing you can do. She hit me with a car. As my daughter jokes, twice. Again, did you break anything? No. I mean, I can look back multiple times and say, I saved her life, like literally, because she was type 1 diabetic. Her blood sugars would go low right after. I was the one there when she was literally having a seizure. Like, yep, let's get you back up. Let's get you to the hospital. What do you need? And I try to be very attentive as a husband. So I mean, there was minor domestic violence from her side, but nothing I would have been like, oh, I need to call the police. That didn't start occurring until we started filing divorce paperwork and trying to come to negotiations. And when she hit me with the car and then cracked my ribs, I'm like, enough is enough. We're not
Yeah.
together. I'm not going to put up with this. So I called the police, and that's where the police reports were coming from, is because no, why would I? I'm not with you. I'm not going to allow you to put your hands on me anymore. But at the same time, then that's when the further allegations started coming from her. And then it's everything underneath the sun. And I mean, I've read it out of a PSI that came. It was allegedly I threatened her. I threatened to kill our dog. Allegedly, I was financially controlling. And it made me laugh because this is the same woman that took mommy vacations. So I was working and she would go on a trip by herself to Ireland or to California, or she came out to Budapest or things that just to go see friends and go like you controlled the finances. Literally, she controlled our bank account. I just earned the income. And she told me when my daughter was just born, this is our second child, our 10-year-old. She was like, if I have to work, I will regret you the rest of my life. So I was like, okay, be a stay at home mom. and I went out and found an income, and I was working at a company where I made a good 90,000 a year. I drove 6 hours a day back and forth, commuting and back and forth home, so she could stay at home and be a stay at home mom. It never really dawned on me, didn't know, like I said, any of that. But it was just all the allegations that came out of how I was financially controlling and abusive to animals and abusive to the kids and abusive to her. And it's like, where did any of this ever actually happen? And you're baffled because you're like, none of this ever occurred. And it's like, please show me any of this and how would it have occurred? Like, you controlled the bank accounts. You controlled the whole house. And I was one of those, I just wanted to please. Like, that was my job, is to come home. I was always raised happy wife, happy life. That's how my father raised me. And they're still together, like 40 years in, and they're retiring. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, what did I miss? What did I do wrong? Because literally my whole existence was happy wife, happy life. I come home, oh, you're tired, let me do the dishes. I was the person that cooked and cleaned and like after work. I didn't expect that from her. I figured, being a mother at home is a stressful job. But then when I was a stay-at-home dad, I'm like, this isn't bad. I could do this all the time. This is great. Like, this is what you did? Like, I get to go and have fun with my kids day in and day out? What's so stressful about this?
Yeah.
So I see the mothers that are out there, and it's like, you know how stressful it is to be a stay-at-home mom? I did it with a 40-hour job that I would juggle. Like, yep, my kids are in bed now. I can get online and actually answer to my clients and take care of
Mhm.
everything and still knock that out of the park and still be able to go and do all the things they want to do after school. But while they're in school, I was able to sit and work too. I had pretty much autonomy over my own schedule. And I know that is not the case for a lot of people. I do. I understand that. But as a parent, like, I have that autonomy to do so. So it was really easy. And I was like, I never understood where people are like, this is such a hard thing. I loved it. Like, I would trade it in. But now she's quit her job. She is a home stay mom and made demands for child support based off of being just a stay at home mom. But you quit your job and literally kidnapped her kids and went across the world. Like, this is all your choice. And luckily
So
the
in
courts didn't
Ireland,
believe that.
does she live does who does she live with in Ireland? Does she have her own place? Like, how does she support herself?
So Ireland is a very mother supporting country, Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. So if you're an Irish citizen, hey, believe it or not, you're better off moving home. They give her £2,000 a month to live off of. They give her free housing. She had free attorneys. She
Wow.
has free health care. My kids will have free college. So there was always the expectations when the kids got old enough, they would be moving to Ireland for college. We agreed on that from day one, because why would I want to set my kids up negative equity from the day they start when you can go to Ireland and college is going to be free? And all I'm
Mhm.
going to have to pay for is your housing. So we always had that agreement for our kids. She is an Irish citizen, so that was literally the easiest way for her to go home. When we were married, we got the kids their Irish passports to establish their residency there as well for this reason. So they could
Mm.
go home and attend college and everything along those lines. It was never to abduct them and then keep them there.
Well, it was never your plan. Well, you can't be sure if it wasn't her plan.
This is true. I never wanted to. Again, I try not to let my mind wander of what could or did occur. It's just
Yeah.
I try to stick to these are the facts of what
Yeah.
actually occurred.
Yeah.
So what I know is this is the statement she made. But then when even in the Hag, when she was like, he emotionally abused me so bad that I have all these and it was like self-induced like things. Like, so allegedly she has PTSD.
Right.
I actually do have
Of
PTSD,
course.
but
Oh,
she claims
sure.
she has PTSD.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they asked her for medical records. None were produced. Allegedly, she is so traumatized she can't leave the house. They asked her for medical records, and again, none were produced. So again, and all she had to do is show one therapy note, one
Yeah.
documented. There's nothing. I've been in therapy from 2021 and then now continuously. And I have a whole regimen to even just go to sleep because I can't shut my mind down. Every day it's about, what's my next step? What am I doing wrong? What else can I do? Like, what if somebody comes in, like, wants to see the house to make sure it's ready for the kids? So I
Yeah.
try to do all of it just to make sure. that no matter what, my house is auditable, everything's in check. I make sure and
Mhm.
monitor anything I post online because
Yeah.
I know there's 20 people reviewing my Facebook at any point in time to what is he posting. And it's just I've been recorded walking out my front door. Like it's one of those, it's like, what do you do? So yeah.
So it sounds like you do suffer from PTSD based on everything that's happened, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. Do you have any thoughts, any final thoughts for our listeners on what you've experienced and any tips for them as they're going through this?
The only thing I can say is exactly what my son said to me. Don't stop fighting. Every day I wake up, I have to remind myself I'm doing this for my kids. I
Mhm.
wake up, I go to work, I do my daily regimen, and I'm doing it because in the end, either A, they're going to turn 18 and they're going to
Mhm.
come home, or B, there's a chance I can win, just even if it's that 50-50. So I know because I've faced that day in and day out, like, don't give up because there is a lot more to it that's at risk. And believe it or not, your kids will grow up. I know I've got my 21-year-old upstairs that now I'm like, what are you doing in life? When are you going to go get a career? Um, they do come home and they will want to know your side someday, but we don't need to bombard them that someday now.
Yeah.
Remember their age. They don't need to be involved in what's going on, even if the parent or the other parent is alienating them. It's not for the kid to get involved into that.
Yep.
So it's just truly wake up, keep your head up, keep going. I want to say there's light at the end of the tunnel. I want to believe there is, but even when I don't know if there is, I'm going to listen to my son. Like, you're going to keep fighting for me until
Yeah.
I'm 18, right? Yes, I am.
Wow. He's so bright and he's so amazing. And thank you. And
Thank
when
you.
is your appeals hearing?
I'm waiting for dates. We're waiting for the transcript still.
Okay.
So that's why the dates. I can give you the appeals number. I'll do that off the podcast.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I can give you all that information, but we don't have a hard date. It was
Oh,
accepted by the state.
great.
It's not because you got to get all the transcripts and all the evidence submitted over to the state. We had to pay, I think it was like just shy of $3,000
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
transcripts.
Yep.
So we're now waiting to get those. We got one that literally had nothing in it other than the hearing's on hold right this second, right? Yes. Okay.
$500.
Right. So I was kind of that's like, well, that's not quite the transcript we were waiting for.
Right.
So that's what we're waiting on right this
Okay.
second.
Well, we look forward to hearing back on that. We'll talk offline about that day, and then we'll certainly have you back when we get to that point. Jay, thank you so much for being a guest on the Fractured Families podcast, and our thoughts are with you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me and being flexible.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Fractured Families podcast. I hope our conversation has provided you with support, understanding, and actionable insights to help you navigate your own family challenges. Remember, healing is a journey, and reaching out for help is a sign of strength. You're not alone. And if you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more families in need. You can contact me on social media at Parental Alienation is Real and visit our website for additional resources and ways to get involved. Stay strong, stay connected, and keep fighting for the family bonds that matter most. Until next time, take care and stay resilient.